Okay, y'all, I'm back. Today we're doing a review. Side note, you're gonna hear my dogs in the background. That's what that is. This movie is called Mother Knows Best. I believe it's still streaming on Tubi TV, but this full of spoilers. I'm telling the movie because this is a review, not a recommendation. Okay, so we got our characters. Celeste is in the middle. The guy she's dating, Ted, is on the right, and her mama, Celeste, is on the left. Okay, Laurel, who's in the middle, is a doctor. She works in the medical field and she's quite successful. Mama Celeste is worried that she's not spending enough of her time dating. So she takes out a page in like an ad space to pretty much pimp her daughter out. She's like, hey, she poses as her daughter. Hey, this is my interest. This is what I like to do. Call me, so we can go out on a date. And Ted sees the advertisement and he calls her. Now, Laurel, who's in the middle, finds out that her mother does that when Ted calls. He was like, who is this? Who is this person calling me? Oh, you didn't take out this page in the ad? No, my mom did that. Well, is it true you like long walks? Yeah, I like long walks. Well, let's just go out on a date and see what happens, right? Now, they go out on a date and they have a good time. And Ted takes her to a warehouse and he shows her that the warehouse, he tells her that this is a warehouse that he just bought because he wants to expand his mechanic business. He's a mechanic and he owns a shop. So mama calls. She's like, hey, how did the date go? But she don't want to tell her mama, because her mom was the one that set the whole thing up. And she kind of keeps it to herself. So her mama's like, you know what? Before your next date, and we're gonna invite him over so we can meet him. Laurel agrees to have Ted come over so he can meet her parents. He shows up at the door completely like covered in soot and dirt. He was like, hey, I'm sorry to show up like this. This is not how I wanted to meet y'all. There was a single mom on the side of the road that, her tire blew, and I helped her change it. And he asked to use the bathroom to clean up a little bit, and he went into the bathroom. Now, Celeste, who's Laurel's mama, is looking real crazy right about now because in the advertisement, he said something about something in the advertisement to lead her to believe he was super well off. And she was just so shocked that he wasn't this accountant or somebody who worked on Wall Street. And she got upset. She's complaining to her husband while he in the bathroom. And when Ted comes back out the bathroom, she's standoffish about it, right? So Laurel and Ted leave to go on their date, right? Date was great. They go back to her place, they're drinking wine and they get into the bedroom. And all of a sudden, Celeste is banging and ringing her doorbell. She drove over there, right? And it was so insistent that Laurel just got up and answered the door. And Celeste knew that her daughter brought that man home because she saw the wine glasses through the window. So she walks through the apartment. She's like, oh, honey, I am so sorry that he misrepresented himself. And I thought he was such and such. And you know what? You'll find better and you can't really do anything with this loser, etc. Ted is in the bedroom, so he could hear her talking like this. And Laurel's like trying to get her to shut up. And she finally said, hey, he's in the room. And Celeste is like, oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Okay, well, I'll leave and we'll talk later. And after she leaves, Ted is like, okay, so do you believe what your mom believes? And Laurel's like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. We're going to get her to come around to it. All the while, Celeste she just hates Ted because Ted cannot be the right man for her daughter. They get serious and Ted buys a house and a puppy and they're at that stage. All the while, Celeste was being mean to Ted's mom because the parents met and all of that. She gets so adamant about this. She starts digging for dirt on Ted and finds out that his last relationship went sour, like he was married before. And he owed his ex-wife money, which he had been paying on. But this is all dirt that she thought that she had collected on Ted that Laurel didn't know. But Ted had been upfront with her about what was going on with him and his ex-wife. But anyway, Ted bought the house and said, this is our house if you want it, and we can move in together, etc. So She decides to move in with Ted, but she didn't tell her mama until her mama showed up and saw her packing. Because prior to that, her mom had been helping pay for where she was living before. Yeah, mama got pissed off and she was like, it's either me or Ted. And she chose Ted, obviously. So she set it up after that. She set it up to make it look like Ted attacked her when that's not what happened. And Laurel knew that's not what happened. So they cut her off completely. Laurel also found out that all the accomplishments Celeste said that she had was a lie. And she came from nothing. She thought that she came from a rich family, and that was a lie. Ted and Laurel get married, and it's happy. And the parents didn't. Laurel's parents did not attend the wedding. They were sitting across the street from the wedding with binoculars like creepers. Laurel gets pregnant, and she's having to go through all of this without her parents because her mama crazy. Like, mom is doing everything that she can to sabotage this because she just does not feel like Ted is the right person. He's trailer trash. He's not going to be nothing, etc. Now, Laurel's father is a doormat. He shows up at the baby shower because Ted's mom calls him, says, hey, I think your daughter needs you right now. So he shows up and says, hey, you need to just forgive your mom. She's not going to come and tell you sorry. So you should just go and talk to her because she misses you, etc. So she goes to have a dinner with her mother, and her mom's talking like, okay, I got you a divorce, Laura. We can get through this together, etc. And Laura's like, wait a minute, mama. I'm not leaving Ted. And she was like, well, why are you here? I thought this is the reason why you were meeting because I was right the whole time. So they end up falling out again. Laurel goes into labor and her mother shows up at the hospital and she was turned away. Ted was like, Laurel does not want to see you. So for you to show up here is crazy. She had to leave the hospital even more pissed because Ted told her that. It is worth mentioning that Ted did not want to not get along with this woman. She is on a vendetta. This woman is out on her marbles. She's off her marbles. Now we get to it. So Laurel has the baby and they're a big, big happy family. But, Celeste is upset because she hasn't had a chance to meet her grandchild and she just feels alienated from her child and her grandchild. One day she's in her mansion and having the carpets cleaned, and she noticed that the dude that's cleaning the carpet is admiring one of her trinkets, her expensive trinkets on the mantelpiece. And she threatens him. And he says, please don't tell my employer because my employer is going to have to tell my parole officer. She's like, oh, you got a parole officer? Then she blackmails him into putting a hit on her son-in-law to kill him. That's because that's the only way to get rid of him. He refers her to this hitman, and they hatch a plan to kill the son-in-law. Now, what Celeste doesn't know is that the man that was cleaning her carpets actually contacted the police, and it's a fake hitman. So they have to make her believe that they're actually going to carry out the hit, and they do. Like, they stage the whole thing, and they put Ted under under protection, and then they bring Laurel in and tell her that's what her mother was doing. So she's got to act like Ted is dead, and all of this has happened. Like, she can't let her mother know that she knows that she put a hit out on her husband. So they successfully carry this out, right? Celeste meets with the hitman to ask, hey, did you do A, B, C, and D? Did you clean it up? Did you make sure it didn't look like a hit and you made sure it looked like a robbery? And the other undercover police officer was like, yeah, then she got to run in her mouth. You can never be too careful with these things. This is how people mess up with this A, B, C, and D. And then the undercover officer was like, well, I'm an officer and you're under arrest. So Celeste goes to court with her doormat of a husband in tow, pleading that her daughter was being abused and she had to take action, or she feared that, this man would kill him one day, etc. Laurel and Celeste crossed paths on the way to court, and she was like, Laurel, tell him that you were being abused. Laurel says, goodbye, Mom. And Celeste was like, you know what? She'll forgive me one day. She'll understand. She'll admit to the truth one day. Yeah, she was found guilty and then never spoke again. And this is actually based on a true story. This is a Lifetime movies I love watching. So thank you for your time.